I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be the art of pulling back to create attraction. Now, we're going to talk about is when you're dating a girl and things are going real well. Let's say it starts off, it's real hot and heavy in the beginning, and you're hooking up, and sex is great, and you really think something's going to go somewhere with this girl, and so you get a little overly excited, maybe you're a little cocky, a little full of yourself, and then what happens is you're not really paying attention because you start to project your high interest on the girl that you're dating. And then what happens is she starts to call you less, she starts to text you less. Maybe sometimes when you ask her to do something, she says, I'm not really sure, I'm kind of busy. She starts to take her time to get back to you, whereas before when you would text her, she'd respond to you right away. And so there's a balance, there's a middle road between, obviously, if you pursue too much and you try to force things along, you'll cause her to put you in the let's just be friend zone, or just simply ruin your chances altogether and not want anything to do with you. But the flip side is that you can pull back too much, and then when she starts chasing and pursuing, that you actually start to ignore her and not pay attention to the signs that she actually just wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up like always. And so I see these mistakes happen sometimes, and I got an email here from a guy who he started pulling back, and the girl started chasing and pursuing, and then he didn't ask her to do anything. It's almost as if he was waiting for her to start asking him out on dates or something like that. And so I see guys doing this sometimes, and so I thought this would be a great email to go through, because it's a really critical error. Because I know, like, when I was learning this stuff, I really struggle with it. And if you've read my book, you know that the women, especially like the one relationship where I spent about 1.5 years really getting to master this, where the point where it really built my internal emotional muscle and emotional strength, it was a motherfucker doing it, because I didn't have a coach. I didn't have somebody to help me out with this stuff and tell me the exact way to show up, how often to call, how much to back off, how much to pursue. And it took me time to figure out the middle of the road. And so it's nice is that all that struggle that I went through enables me to look at emails like this and be able to pinpoint exactly where a guy is going wrong. And at the end of the day, what you're really dealing with is those feelings of insecurity, of fear, of doubt, fear that you're not enough, fear that you won't be loved, fear that you won't get the girl that you want, or the things that won't work out, or that, because it's like I remember when I was younger, I always had this fear. I go out and have a great date. I'm thinking, am I ever going to see this girl again? Is she going to want to see me again? So you just never really know, especially in the beginning. Like when you 4 or 5 days go by, and then you call her to set the second date. It's like you never really know if she's going to, even if you thought you had a great first date, when you're calling for that second date, there's still like, what if she doesn't answer her phone? What if it goes to voicemail and I leave a message? And then you end up getting her voicemail and you leave a message, and then you're just freaking out the whole afternoon going, oh my God, she hasn't called me back yet. What the hell? She doesn't like, and all of a sudden she calls you, whoo, I feel a lot better about myself. So I've got a quote here that I want to share with you. It's from the book of Proverbs. And it says, if you can't control your anger, you are as helpless as a city without walls, waiting to be attacked. And therefore, if you can't maintain your emotional center with women you're dating or that you're in a relationship with, things are simply not going to end well. Like I've said numerous times, when you're in a fearful state, your thoughts and the actions that you contemplate and come up with that, oh, I think I should do this, I think I should do that, 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, when you take the actions and make or the decisions that you make when you're in a fearful state, those will tend to bring about more being fearful and more unbalance in your life, as opposed to taking the time to relax, sleep on it, think about it, contemplate on it. And when you have peace of mind in your heart and you feel relaxed about it, then those decisions and actions that you take coming from that place will be a lot more efficient, and they will get you to your goals or wherever it is that you want to get ultimately a lot quicker. So he says, hey Corey, I'm in a situation with a woman where after a couple of months of hanging out, we became very amorous over a couple of weeks, lots of sex. He says, after those 2 weeks, she told me that she wanted to take things slow and that things were moving too fast in the relationship. When a woman says that, what she's basically saying is this is starting to feel like a relationship really quickly, And it's her way of saying, like, dude, you need to slow down. You're trying to force things instead of just kind of like letting the love story happen, so to speak. That's why I say the only thing a guy really needs to focus on is hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Rinse, recycle, repeat. And then eventually, if you do everything right, after about 2 months, the girl should be in love with you. And usually in week 5 or 6 is usually, if you're doing everything right now, obviously usually week 5 or 6 is when she starts bringing up the exclusivity labels. And then by about the end of the 2nd month, interest level should be in the 90s, and that means that she'll be in love with you at that point. It's a great place to be. It's a wonderful thing to have the peace of mind and to have life experience and to have confidence to know that when you're dating a chick and she just knocks your socks off, but it doesn't totally uncenter you to the point where you start making stupid, unnecessary mistakes. It's beautiful because it's like almost the future becomes predictable. It's like you can set your watch to her actions and what she'll do if you follow what I teach in my book and in my articles. And it allows you as a man to focus on what's most important in life, which is your purpose and your mission in life. So he says, we never clearly defined being boyfriend and girlfriend, but she did tell a coworker of ours that we were spending a lot of time together, and now people we work with refer to us as an item. One side note, when a woman says something like, hey, she wants to take things slow and that we're moving too fast, when a girl says something like that, in a way she's testing you to see, because a guy who's focused on relationship, he's going to try to corral her into some kind of commitment or relationship, and he'll usually start to get a little uneasy, a little upset, because he's fearful that, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to make this girl my girlfriend. And then he starts to chase and pursue and try to force things, when all he really needs to do is just say, oh, it's like, let's not worry about it. It's like, I'm not looking for a relationship. I just want to, I agree with you 100%. I think we should take things slow and let's have fun. Let's not complicate things. Let's just focus on having a great time together and just see where it goes. And that's the best response you can come up with when a woman throws something like that at you. And if you're just learning this stuff, it may happen to you. And so that's why I discuss things like this, so you can learn from other guys that are making mistakes. And so if you get faced with this in your own life, you got a great response, a great comeback, can totally diffuse the situation and move right on, so it doesn't affect you or cause a girl to start backing off. Because if she gets a hint that you're trying to force things, or that you're way more into her than she is into you at this point, then she's going to start backing up, because what happens is she becomes fearful that she's going to lose her freedom and that you're going to become kind of stalkerish or try to force her to be in a relationship when she's not really ready for that. So it's always better if it's the woman's idea. And if you allow her, you give her the space to start pursuing and chasing you, over time, as her interest level goes up, she'll start calling you more, texting you more, and after about 2 months of dating and doing everything right, it'll basically be at the point where she's texting you 2 or 3 times a day, and she's either coming over to your place or you're going over to her place, and you're pretty much seeing each other every day, and you're together all the time. It makes it pretty easy. They just pretty much vote themselves into your life as long as you keep focusing on hanging out, having fun, and hooking it up, keeping it really simple. He says, over the following couple of weeks, since the thing with the coworkers referring to them as an item, and her saying, hey, we're moving too fast, she told me she wanted to slow her roll, and I noticed things changing with her. So basically what happened was she mentioned this to you, and obviously you didn't handle it very well, because instead of her interest going up, her interest started going down. And so it's like you heard it, but you were unable to take actions and do and say the right things that communicated. You had to take or leave it kind of attitude, that you were just kind of like, hey, don't complicate things. Let's just have a great time together and see where it goes. And your response obviously caused her to continue to feel like it was moving into the relationship zone too fast and that she would potentially lose her freedom. And when the other person senses that they're going to lose their freedom, you usually end up getting dumped or stuck in a let's just be friend zone. He says, the day after we talked, I sent her a text apologizing for not thanking her for having the conversation we did, and then I respected her decision. Well, that was a big fuck up. You don't need to do that. That was a completely unnecessary. And see, what's going on is you had this conversation, and it sounded like it went well, but like the next day, you're falling under what I like to call the illusion of action. You're thinking, oh, I got to do something to reconfirm what happened yesterday. And the bottom line is you discussed it, but when you text her like this and with an apology the next day, it expresses weakness. It expresses that you're fearful that you're going to lose this girl. And men who are successful with women, they don't worry about losing a girl, because at the end of the day, they know that it takes two, an effort from both people in the relationship, making an effort to make something work between two people. He says she responded by saying, she responded by saying, I didn't have to say that I was sorry and that she felt bad. And here again, woman's just confirming that the apology was inappropriate. What did I just say a second ago? So he says, I didn't respond to that, and that weekend she sent me a text while I was working late saying that she missed me. He says, I am sure I made a mistake in not inviting her over that night. It doesn't have to be that night. When she says, hey, I miss you, he's like, hey, I miss you too. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? That's the right response in that moment. But instead, you kind of start like dancing in circles, or maybe you just ignored her on purpose. I don't know what was going on. And it's not a bad thing that you didn't respond. I mean, maybe you're out with your friends, and that would have been a good thing anyways, because then she'd be wondering what you're doing or what you're up to. And she's like, if you call her the next day, she says, what were you up to? I was like, I was out with a friend last night. What were you up to? It's like, I got your text, and it's really sweet to hear that you miss me, and I miss you too. I'd like to see you when you're free to get together. Make a definite date, then say, great, I'll see you then. I got to run, but I'm really looking forward to it. And then get off the phone. That's all you got to say. It's so simple. He says, I've noticed her becoming distant. What is confusing to me is that this past week she's been touching me more. And at first I responded to her distance by trying to engage her more, and I noticed her becoming more annoyed. See, you pursued, and you saw that your over-pursuit caused her to get annoyed with you, because in essence, you're acting like the woman. He says, I backed off immediately, and we only see each other at work lately, which amounts to once or twice a week. How come you're not making dates, dude? If you see her, hey, great to see you. What's happening? What's new? I mean, you had some missed opportunities there, dude. And then when you're free to get together, and then make a date. Like once, the fallback position is always once a week. You should ask her to do something, especially when she goes cold. But if you call a girl and she's real flaky, non-committal, not really into it, then wait 2 weeks and then text her and call her and see if you can make plans with her. He says, the last time we worked together, she said hi when I walked in and told me I looked handsome in my uniform. Again, she's trying to communicate. Her interest is going back up and she's noticing these things, but you're just brushing them off, and now you're trying to act all cool and ignore all these indicators of interest. The idea, it's like when you back off, it's like putting a cake in the oven. It just needs to bake a little bit longer. And when the timer goes off and the girl starts calling you or texting you or telling you they're handsome again or saying she misses you, it means I'm ready for you to create the next fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen. And you didn't do that in this case, so it's another missed opportunity. So he said, back in the kitchen, she was a little touchy-feely with me, poking me in the belly and brushing up against me, and I gave her a little contact back. The next day, she came into work to watch a hockey game, and did not make any attempt to approach me. I caught her looking at me, and when I did, she hurried up and looked away. Because now she's starting to think, oh, he doesn't like me anymore, or maybe he found somebody else, and so she doesn't want to look like a douchebag expressing interest when you're basically ignoring her. He says, that eye contact is the only contact we had that night, and that's the last time I saw her. From one day to the next, she became quite cold, and I don't know if she's testing me by seeing how I'll react to her cold shoulder through our next work experience, but I don't think the cold shoulder is a good thing. So what I'm wondering is how to view this, because she never told me she didn't want to see me again. At the end of the day, you're the man, and it's up to you to make a date happen. She put herself into your orbit, just like I say all the time. She put herself into your orbit, and it was up to you to be the man and make a date happen, but you didn't do it. You just kind of walked around in circles, in essence, waiting for her to be the leader, make a date with you, or invite you to do something, and that's where you completely went wrong here. So if I were you, if you still haven't heard from this girl, I would call her and say, hey, I'd love to get together. When are you free to get together? I'd love to see you. I'd love to meet up for a drink. When are you free? And then make definite plans and then get off the phone. Because, I mean, what you basically did here is that you backed off, and then when she presented herself to you, you ignored her. So if you want my help, go to my website, click the products tab, and book a phone coaching session.